very, very effectively.
That's good to hear.
I agree with Mr. Allison's comments. Under the acting administrator's leadership, the FAA has rolled out several programs, including the IPP very successfully to date, the UPP, which was recently announced, and the proposed rules that we talked about that were dropped during the furlough. So I think they're doing a great job, and we look forward to continuing to work with them.
We usually hear that they're pretty hidebound and very slow to respond, and they come along after the industry, which puts us behind the rest of the world. But perhaps maybe there's been some improvement, so that's good to hear. I have a more specific question that's related to the UTMs that some of you mentioned and how they can tie to the testing centers that exist in several states, including my state of Nevada. I know we're eventually going to develop a system that will be applicable to what I'm going to mention, but in the meantime, I wonder if you could give me some advice on what we might do to allow this to happen. Some of the commercial users, like utility companies who have rights of way on the ground, would also like to have rights of way in the air to be involved with things like remote wires that are in areas of Nevada that you can't get to very easily, or perhaps fixing railroads or pipes. Is there any possibility, working with the testing centers, that we might develop some kind of airways where the drones can go that are tied to other infrastructure projects where they might have right-of-ways?
Well, that's certainly in our plans at NASA to work with the FAA, the established test centers at Edwards Air Force Base, where Armstrong is located. We're in a restricted airspace, so a lot of our initial work happens there without the need for COAs or FAA authorization to fly. I did mention in my testimony the Grand Challenge activity moving forward. Initial Grand Challenge is planned for our facility at Edwards in Southern California, but we are looking at the Nevada test site as a potential alternative location to move some of our mobile facilities to and do some of the Grand Challenge work there as well.
So do you think that the FAA should kind of carve out or create these restricted fly zones or corridors that parallel critical infrastructure?
That is going to be something for the FAA to decide, but certainly that's within the capability of UAS to do monitoring of critical facilities and infrastructure like railroads, power lines, transportation throughways.
How about you, Ms. Cooper?
Thank you for your question. Congress directed the FAA under the Extension Act to set up under Section 2209 a process for a critical infrastructure facility owners and operators to seek no-fly zone designation. That's another provision that we're still waiting for the FAA to implement so that we can move forward and help protect critical infrastructure.
Well, maybe since they're doing better, they'll move forward quicker.
Hope so. Thank you.
Thank you. I yield back.